Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Get Real show with Kenneth, Clifford, and guest David Hoffmeister. And today's theme is Love Holds No Grievances. And I just thought I would share a short prayer to get us into that relaxation.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Get Real show with Kenneth.
It's a clone. Okay, this is from Workbook Lesson 221. Father, I come to you today to seek the peace that you alone can give. I come in silence. In the quiet of my heart, the deep recesses of my mind, I wait and listen for your voice. My Father, speak to me today. I come to hear your voice in silence and in certainty and love. Sure, you will hear my call and answer me. Okay, take it away, Ken.
Welcome, everyone. Lovely to be with you all. Thank you, Andy, for the prayer. And thank you, David, for joining us. Yeah, it's just feels so precious just to be together, just to join in this holy moment together, and just to remember together. And you know, Jesus is the master, and he's saying, yeah, let go of all those grievances because you have a lot of them. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's what that's what he wants for us. And so we just call him into our lives. He's the great healer and the protector. And he knows what's best for us. And so that's a wonderful thing that we can rest in that. Because I think it's very easy to get caught up in thinking that we have to do something here. But really it's about trust. It's about a deeper trust. Trusting in something that seemingly you can't see. And that's not very comfortable to the seeming human, to trust in something far greater than itself. And so that's what we do today. Each time we join together, we trust in something far greater. Well, I have to do that every week when I come on this episode, so that's really the only reason why I'm here. It's, you know, when this begins, you go live and it's just help. That's the only prayer I can have in my mind. Okay, it's over to you. I have no clue what I'm doing here and what I'm supposed to say. Or yeah, so that's the deeper trust, and know that he has the greater plan. And so that's the gift, really. That's a wonderful gift. That's how we rest. We rest in him. You know, and that's why he says, you know, you must come as little children, without the thoughts of the past that are clogging our minds. Because that's all it is, isn't it? It's just past thoughts and patterns that we're believing in, and that are over. In fact, they're completely and utterly over. That's the beautiful thing about this. You know, even saying we're healing something is a joke, because of course it's already over. So there's actually nothing to heal. But in the meantime, while we find ourselves there, it's like, okay, we seemingly play the game of healing until there's nothing there, until we realise that there are no grievances, you know, and there never were any grievances. And so for me, I turned on my lessons to lesson 68. And that's always been one of my favorite lessons. I just think it's a wonderful lesson, and so I felt like it was important that we really, really take this in and go more deeply into this, that love holds no grievances. And I just thought, yeah, that, you know, this is everything. This is why we're doing what we're doing, to enter into that loving presence always and forever, and to see everything in that perspective of love, pure unconditional love, which is not of this world. It has nothing to do with this world whatsoever. So we mustn't confuse it with love between two people or something like that. Desires. It's a direct experience with the source, really. And it encompasses everyone. So it's not special to places or bodies or things. It encompasses everything. And so as Jesus teaches, you're either in that experience or you're not in that experience. And if you're not in that experience, then there's forgiveness. We need to let go of what is not that. And of course, so he's just showing us that if we're not in that, we're seeing everything as separate, and we're looking at things through the separated lens, which is not true. And that's where basically our grievances stem from, believing that we're separate in time and space and alone, really. And so we have to get in contact with how we truly feel. You know, to think that you're in time and space is a very, very lonely thing. Away from your father is extremely lonely. And like, you know, the ego is sort of like brushed over these feelings that we have, because it says, oh no, don't look at them. Don't look at this deep loneliness. Don't look at this deep hatred that you did something wrong. You know, and we know, and we all know this as when we're children and we do something wrong, and this sort of anticipation of the, oh my God, mum and dad are gonna go mad at me. It's absolutely awful to feel like you've done something wrong, and then the consequences are coming. And then finally the consequences come, and in actual fact there's a little bit of relief of that once it's over. But in the meantime, you find yourself in this anguish. And so Jesus is teaching us that we've actually covered over all of this, and we're trying to make a life where there is no life. And we're seemingly, you know, like the old saying, well, you've just got to make the best of life. And it's like, well, that's really sort of settling for second best. And so we have to really, really get in contact with these deeper feelings of how we really, really feel. You know, to think about it like you're lost away from your father is like huge to a child. If you imagine you were lost in a marketplace or something, and you were 6 years old and you couldn't find your father, you'd be very, very upset, and you know, you'd want to find him immediately. And in a way, that's the predicament that we find ourselves in. We desperately want to find our way back, but somehow we've covered this up. The ego's covered it up and said, well, it's not too bad here. You know, there's the good and the bad. And I have some things to offer you, but it's never going to give you everlasting peace, everlasting love, and everlasting joy. And so we believe that we don't deserve that. That's the whole point. If we really believe that we deserved it and that we are joy, we are peace, and we are love, then this would be all over. But there's such unworthiness in the mind that just can't believe that I am everything. So we are hiding from our Father. And in turn, while we're here in the ego's games, we are generating grievances which seem completely and utterly real. And it seems like a never-ending battle of trying to let go of all these things. And in this world, it seems like there's one thing after another setting us back. And so this is why we join deeply together in these episodes to really sort of like look at like, okay, what is my core issue really? What is it that is stopping me from being everything? What is stopping me from changing my perception about what is seemingly going on here? And so that's why we have one another, our brothers, to reflect the truth back to us. That in everything, the Holy Spirit's here as well. So this is, it's not all doom and gloom, you know. It's like the Holy Spirit is here, waiting just for that instant that is here and now, that is in every moment, is just is going to be your moment to realize what you are. And so that's now what we must be wanting to see. Cleaning that lens, that darkened lens, that we are awful and that we've done something wrong, and that we can't trust anything of this world. And of course, if you're putting trust in this world, there's going to be distrust. And so we have to put our faith in something that, as I began with, far greater than ourselves. And so this is where Jesus has brought us when he brings us all the way to lesson 68. Love holds no grievances. So I thought I'd read a little bit of this to us, because he sums it up pretty nicely. You who were created by love, like itself, can hold no grievances and know yourself. To hold a grievance is to forget who you are. To hold a grievance is to see yourself as a body. To hold a grievance is to let the ego rule your mind and to condemn the body to death. Perhaps you do not yet fully realize just what holding grievances does to your mind. It seems to split you off from your source and make you unlike him. It makes you believe that he is like what you think you have become, for no one can conceive of his creator as unlike himself. Shut off from your true self, which remains aware of its likeness to its creator. Your real self seems to sleep, while the part of your mind that weaves illusions in its sleep appears to be awake. Can all of this arise from holding grievances? Oh yes, for he who holds grievances denies he was created by love, and his creator has become fearful to him in his dream of hate. Who can dream of hatred and not fear God? It is as sure that those who hold grievances will redefine God in their own image, as it is certain that God created them like himself and defined them as part of him. It is as sure that those who hold grievances will suffer guilt, as it is certain that those who forgive will find peace. It is as sure that those who hold grievances will forget who they are, as it is certain that those who forgive will remember. Would you not be willing to relinquish your grievances if you believed all this were so? Perhaps you do not think you let your grievances go, that however is simply a matter of motivation. Today, we will try to find out how you would feel without them. If you succeed, even by ever so little, there will never be a problem in motivation ever again. Well, thank you, Jesus, for that. That's a lovely motivational speech, isn't it? He sums it all up very well. How we perceive ourselves, how we perceive the world, how we perceive our brothers is how we perceive God. And that is actually hate. But when we perceive through love, we perceive our Father through love. As we think of him, we think of ourselves. And so this is, super important. And Jesus is reminding us as what's in the way of that. And saying, yeah, these tiny little grievances in your mind are hiding the light from everything. And it's super important that we forgive everything. As he teaches, there are no small upsets. And so he's motivating us today to, think about all of our brothers and think about, and actually, actual fact, in the actual lesson, he says that there isn't one person who you don't have a grievance with, even the ones that you love. He says, there's still the hate is there. So he knows, he's the master psychologist. Nothing escapes his eye. And he says, yeah, there's still hate there if you're not perceiving love as whole. And so, yeah, really, this is what we're here to explore today. And you will have that opportunity to, now your prayer is, okay, where am I holding back? What is the grievance that I'm holding on to that needs to be shared so I can release myself? And that's the beautiful thing. We all know that, like, when we've held on to something for so long, and then finally we just can't do it any longer, and it's, listen, I need to share this, and you share it and you feel this weight has just been completely and utterly lifted off you, and you think, wow, I've been holding on to this for so long, because the ego plays so many tricks on us and wants us to believe that we are truly doing something bad and that we can actually hurt others, which is completely and utterly impossible. And this is what I'm seeing with perception. And it's like the ego doesn't want us to communicate, because when we don't communicate, it can have its way and start creating illusions about what's going on, misperception, and create all ideas. And so we have an idea about a situation, but we don't know the complete truth, because we hold back from communicating everything we know. And then maybe the others doesn't communicate everything. And then in between the gap, now the ego is going to make up its stories because it wants to rush in and create grievances. And so once it rushes in, it creates grievances. And then we're stuck. Then we're stuck again because we didn't share maybe our jealousy, maybe our envy, maybe our anger, maybe our hatred, because we felt like we'd be rejected or pushed aside. But yet that was the very thing that was in the way of you and God. And so this, and in between your brother. And so this is like the importance of truly like sharing absolutely everything. As I've seen, and I've seen this week in a few sort of miscommunications that have happened. It's like, on my part, there wasn't full communication, and then I'm making up what's going on, and then I've got a grievance, and now I'm responding as if the grievance is real. And then the other person is like, but actually, I didn't give all the information, and I'm not trying to, disrespect you or whatever. But then this happened, and I'm like, why didn't you tell me? It's like the ego is going to rush in and create problems, and it's like, yeah, you're right. Why didn't I fully communicate everything? And then that way, I feel completely clear in my heart as to what's going on. But the ego just wants to say, forget about that. And even sometimes we were laughing about this, because even sometimes you think you've communicated it and you haven't. It's like in your mind, you're like, I thought I told you that. No, you never told me. So it's like this vigilance for communication, which is, of course, as Jesus teaches, that is our only that is the only use of the body, really, is to communicate, and that is to communicate with love. And as he says, if you're not doing that, you're communicating through guilt, and you're just allowing the legions of guilt to spill out, and then they're coming back to you. And so all these grievances are happening, and so we have to completely hand ourselves over to Jesus and the Holy Spirit. As we talked about the other week, we say we forget in our communications, but it's like, really, we don't have to communicate. We rely on the Holy Spirit to communicate for us. You cannot communicate. The ego does not know what communication is, and this is what gets us into all these messes. And that's what I could see. I was relying on myself to communicate, but I wasn't allowing the one to communicate for me, which creates grievances. But when I'm with him, he's going to remind me of everything that I need to say. Absolutely everything. And that may be very, very different than what I feel that maybe I needed to communicate. And so this is what I've been learning through Love Holds No Grievances. I've been staying with this for like over 4 days now. And he says in that lesson, love holds no grievances. Let me not betray myself. And it just hit me so hard. It's like in every moment when you're holding on to something, like you're just betraying your true self. And it's like, wow, do I really want to do that? So maybe it's something that you want to question, in yourself. It's like it's a betrayal of the truth, to hold on to these tiny little grievances. So I feel like that's what I'm doing in my mind. I'm just saying, wow, I just don't want to betray this beauty that wants to come through me. I don't want to fear this love that wants to help me, this voice that wants to love me, and love everyone through me. That's ultimately what we fear. We fear love, That's the truth. We fear this love that wants to come through us. We feel so unworthy of it. And so each week for me, it's just like coming onto this episode, please, Jesus, just help me love a little more today and every day. Just keep me moving in this direction, because I don't want to hold this heaviness in my heart any longer. Let me be with you. Because really, when we go on this journey, all it is like we just keep getting to this point where I just can't do this on my own. I think that's if that's the only prayer you have, I think it's enough. You struggle along and, okay, Jesus, I can't do this anymore. Okay, I can come in a little bit more. Thank you, until he fully comes in. So that's the prayer I want for all of us. That to let go of everything that's not of him, and to join deeply in that. So yeah, I just feel so grateful that we get the opportunity to talk about this together, and I'd love to hear your comments on this, David.
Yeah, I think most of the time people experience grievances around people and situations, and I think the beautiful teachings of Jesus are that basically you just have two aspects of mind that you're dealing with, the split mind, and one is the Holy Spirit and one is the ego. In fact, he says the mind is the decision maker, but he basically just says in the moment, one is a choice and the other is a choice. So it's more of what choice will you make, is really what it comes down to. It doesn't have anything really to do with people or their behaviors or situations, because those are all in form. And I'll say right off the bat, grievances are not in form. Why are they not in form? Because everything is mind. All illness is mental illness. All upset is mental upset. All difficulty is mental challenges. There is no external world. So really the question of love holds no grievances is am I going to choose to be intuitive or analytical? And that's the range. And the reason it seems difficult is because everyone's been conditioned to be analytical. And Jesus says in the Course, he says, the ego analyzes and the Holy Spirit accepts. And that's a big difference. There's a big difference between analysis and acceptance. And yet you have to train your mind to remember that it's always a choice in your mind. I did a little booklet many years ago with a group of students called Purpose is the Only Choice. And I just kept emphasizing, I think this was around 1990 or something, but I kept emphasizing that the only choice you have remaining is which purpose you will embrace in your mind. And what will you be intuitive or will you be analytical? What does that mean? It means there's a part in the Course where Jesus says, never correct a brother because he's always right, because he's always the Christ. That's acceptance. There's no way that statement would make any sense in form. Never correct a brother. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Bite your tongue? Hold a stiff upper lip? How do you go through the day without ever, not once in your life correcting a brother? And what Jesus is saying is, no, I want you to accept your brother, your sister exactly as they are. And only the Holy Spirit knows that. The ego doesn't know what that means. There's another part in the Course where Jesus says, it's dangerous to analyze the motives of others because you can't do that without using the ego. And the whole point is to not use the ego, is to use the Holy Spirit. So every time there's a temptation to analyze the motives of others, wonder why they were late. Oh, well, he said he was going to pay me the money today, but he said he was going to call at 7 o'clock, but now it's 8 o'clock. And then you watch how the ego comes in with a bunch of ideas. Oh, well, they don't care, or they're not prompt, or, whatever. It's just a habitual analysis of always analyzing the motives of others. And I'm not just talking about people. The mind will analyze the motives of pets. Why did they poop on the carpet? They should know better. It will analyze the motives, even if you have ants in your house. The mind will look down in the bathroom and go, you don't belong here. And you shouldn't be, you start talking to the ants, a little stream of ants, and you're analyzing the motives of the ants. It's with everything. So it makes it super simple. Every time you are analyzing, you are in the ego, because the Holy Spirit only accepts. And the Holy Spirit will offer beautiful instructions too. You're not coerced, you're just given guidance that would be very helpful to follow. You still have to decide to follow it. You're not coerced in any way. So the question then would be, if I'm either intuitive or I'm analytical, wow, okay. And then Jesus is saying, you want the intuitive choice. That's going to get you free. The analysis will never get you free. It's just rehashing the past in some disruptive and unconstructive way. But why is there such resistance to being intuitive? If somebody blessed you and said, I wish you an intuitive life where you make all your decisions intuitively and you follow your heart. And like Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss, and you just go forward from now forward, just 100% intuitively, without trying to analyze your way or look outside for evidence and listen to the experts. No, go in your heart and feel it. What do you really feel? The resistance comes in is because the analysis has become habitual. It's like an addiction to analytical thinking. You know, both Ken and I trained in psychoanalysis. It's even in the word, being a counselor, a psychoanalyst, psychotherapist. You know, there's that analyst part again. And he's saying, no, you're just addicted to that, and you don't have the trust and faith in your intuitive voice yet. But if you have an experience, like a heart-opening experience, you feel joy in your heart, you feel happy, pay attention to what comes when you feel joyful and happy, because that's coming from the Holy Spirit. That's going to be your intuitive guidance that comes in that joyful, happy state. And then follow it. Be proactive. Don't jump back into the ego and be reactive, but be proactive from guidance. And then see how the doors just open up. I mean, I've been recalling recently with some friends just all the miracles I've had in my life, and it's even fun. We laugh even telling the parables, because it's so much fun. It's so much like we didn't really know what we were doing, and yet there was one that was doing it through us, and it was so much fun. And recently I did a online retreat with some friends in Brazil, and I could see this woman's face on Zoom just lighting up, lighting up. It was all translated, so I mean, they all spoke Portuguese, and I could just see their faces lighting up. But at the end, there was a woman who wrote me this beautiful message on Instagram the next day, and she just said, "Oh, my heart opened. I just felt such pure love during that workshop, and I felt so strong that I had to write you." So I think she must have used the Google Translate to put it, because I think she only speaks basically Portuguese, very, very little English. But she wrote a beautiful English message to me and basically said, I really feel I want to open my heart, and I want to follow this feeling I feel. I feel joy, and I want to follow it. I want to come close to you. I want to live nearby you. I want to come to co-living. I don't have a lot of money or savings, but I really, really, really want to come, and I had to tell you. I had to tell you. So she pours it out from this place of joy. Okay. And then after this Spanish thing I did, Spanish show on Tuesday, I said, well, I could try to get the time range right. But then I said, yeah, let's do this. So I texted her, and she said, yeah, I have a friend here who speaks English, so he can translate. And then Anna and Marina were there too. And we had this beautiful call that resulted in come. And as soon as I said come, then the tears, she just started crying and crying and crying and crying. It was so beautiful. Everyone in the room felt that we all were just hushed in reverence, because it's all Holy Spirit. It's, you know, that's all that's happening. And yet for her, that was a big deal, to feel the love in her heart, and then communicate what she was feeling. Like, I want to come. I want to be near you. I want to live near you. That took a lot of faith to just do that, because that is intuitive. Now the analytical part would jump right into all the logistics right away and all the reasons why you can't do it. You know, that's how the ego works. To shut off the intuition, it just goes into all the reasons why. And that's the programming and conditioning that all of us have been raised with. That's the ego. And then there's this leap in the heart, just a leap of joy. And when we really just acknowledge it and we pay attention to it and we respond, we actually let it tell us what is supposed to happen. We don't try to figure it out. We let it tell us intuitively what it is. And then we can flow with that. It's like going down a river in a raft. Jesus is like, hop onto the raft. Come on, I've got you. And keep your hands inside, like don't try to grab onto any branches or sticks. Just let me carry you. So that's what I got from, love holds no grievances. Is it's like a call for us to really give ourselves permission to be intuitive and to let go of that old voice of analysis, because that is, we used to say analysis is paralysis. A little joke from little psychotherapy joke there.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much for that, David. Yeah, I was just thinking about what you were sharing from the beginning, and it's like this choice. I saw that today for myself. It's like it's just a very, very simple choice. It always comes down to the choice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else going on. And I've been talking to friends as well and saying like, yeah, it's like I'm choosing to be sad and I want to be sad, and it's like it like feels so real that like this is I am choosing this, and like somehow it feels like there's not enough strength in the mind to be able to get out of that. That's what the ego wants you to feel for yourself, that there actually is no hope. There is no other choice in this. This is suffering. Of course, that's its game, isn't it? You are going to suffer. And the beautiful thing is we're always reminding that there is another choice. Thank God. I mean, I tell you what, I was just thinking of this, and I know you always say this, David, but I think this would have been a very, very good lesson to learn early on in life. I really believe that. I think this should have been number one on the curriculum. Hey, don't forget, there is another choice. You've got to be kidding me. I'm completely and utterly upset. Well, yeah, you can choose love. And it's like, what? In any given moment, you can choose joy. And it is your natural state of being. And so I think that is really it. As you said, when you get into the analytics of things, it's like you're trying to figure it out. And as if it is now in form, I'm making the form real. And now I'm trying to find myself within form. But the thing is I've actually created it in my own mind anyway. I've done it all to myself. So it's not out there. I'm doing this to myself, and it is this I would undo. And so, as you said, it's not actually about people. It's not, the grievances are completely and utterly mind orientated, and it's whether I'm choosing to align myself with grievance mind orientated, or whether I'm choosing to overlook the error and see the beauty of everything. And so, yeah, when you see that, and that's why Jesus is teaching us that it's our lesson, like you shared the other day, last night, there's three things. I know what's going on here. Let me tell you. And Jesus is like, hold on a minute. It's the three fingers are pointing back at you, and guess what? It's actually not their lesson, it's actually your lesson. And this is actually a lesson in letting go of arrogance for you and your mind, for your crazy mind that you're projecting all over the place, that it's seemingly others. And it's
people missed last night. It was pointing a finger, and then the three lessons: one for the Father, one for the Son, one for the Holy Spirit. So they're always pointing back.
They are.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Trinity is going, choose again, my beloved, when the blame game starts.
Exactly. It was a friend of mine once said to me, he said, you always know when you're in trouble when you start your first statement as they. going to go rapidly downhill from there. This is what they. And I thought, yeah, you're dead right. Then you're into it, and that's it. And that's a beautiful thing that you said, David, because that's the ego's favorite game, is the blame game, isn't it? It's just keep the blame out there. Keep the blame out there. Don't look at yourself, because you'll find the answers to undo it. And it's like, how many times am I going to fall for this perception, you know? How many times am I going to be, I swear to God, it's out there. No, it's not. God damn. It's a very, very deep sleep on the mind. It was like beautiful though. It's like the other day I was sharing with Nana, and I said to her, I said, the thing is that I said, as I was driving, I realised that the grievance was already begun. And it was like I was going to prove my grievance to be right. And Jesus comes in and he says, what did he say? He said, I don't think this is the time to be responding to anything, because you're not at peace. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I agreed with him. And then more building up of the grievance. And then I remembered, then so he's like, okay, I know you only half heard that, so I'm going to come in again. And he reminded me of a post that a message from Kirsten. She said, never make any decisions when you feel angry. Always make the decisions when you feel at peace. So he came in with that one. But somehow I still couldn't. It's really funny now, but it's not that funny at all, really. But I still couldn't hear it. And then, as my predictions were right in the situation, it was I couldn't help myself. But go into the blame game, and then afterwards it was like, oh my God, what the hell did I do? But then I was like, you know, coming back and just saying, well, listen, I feel so grateful that I was able to hear. Okay, I didn't follow the guidance. Okay, yeah, I can put my hands up to that. But at least he's there. At least he's telling me, and it's like I do really, really want to listen. So I found that valuable, and equally I was able to, like, through the whole conversation, I was able to, all of a sudden, I absolutely let it all go. And then I could see, like, then I was open to, like, what serves the whole. And then it became beautiful. And I saw, like, in previous times, I would have stayed with my position, even if I was wrong. You know, it's just like, well, I've said what I've had to say now. I'm going to have to stay with this position. This is just how life is. And it was like, there was a surrender in me to say no. Because, of course, it was all coming from my mind. I'd sent out the legions of guilt and I was believing in them. But yeah, the beauty was that he was coming in to save me, to save me in time. So it's like the awareness is like building, like, you know, as you were sharing, like the intuition is like building, like, you know, it's like he's saying to me, you don't have to do this. Because what I was seeing is that it's like as if I get into so much fear, it feels so fearful, like my defenses come up so quick, like they're instantaneous, and then the fear's there, and then it's like I have to respond. I completely and utterly respond from fear, and then once I have, it's like, whoa, where the hell did I go? Because I was just frightened. And so that's what happened. But yeah, it's like I trusted in my own strength and I wasn't able to trust in his strength. It's like he was like there and I was like, I couldn't quite reach his hand, you know, and just hold on and give myself some time. And that's what I've seen him saying, like I have this obligation to rush into the situation to say, okay, something's being called upon. I've got to make a decision. But it's like, then I haven't stayed with him, and it's like he's saying to me, just stay with me first, and then we make the decision. We go on together. Nothing needs to be rushed, and that's coming from this fear that I've got I've got to do it now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can see there's valuable lessons in this
It's
for me.
beautiful. And I think for everyone on watching here, basically, you know, if we say that this analysis and this holding grievances, if you just admit that it's been kind of an addiction, a thought addiction, we'll call it, because I said it's the grievances really aren't informed. That's just a projection. That's to trick you into thinking you've got to tell so and so off, or you know, stand up against so and so and confront so and so. It's not going to go well if as long as you bite the bait and you go right into reacting as if the grievance is informed. Then you'll react from the ego in a way that will just perpetuate the ego. So let's say it's an addiction, we'll say, but how do you get out of it? How do you become more intuitive, like Ken was just saying? That's why originally I after many years of working with the course, you know, I don't know, 15, 20 some years, I developed the instrument for peace, and then we turned it into an app. So why? Why is an app important? You know, it's an on iOS. We've got a Spiri.ai for Android users, and we have it on Facebook. And now it's coming in different languages. With English, Spanish, Dutch, you know, it'll just keep going. It's a bot on Facebook, for example, and it's an app as you're working with it in other ways. But it's like, you know, you have to tell the bot how you're feeling. It's not like you're doing a counseling with a counseling psychotherapist, because all of the healing mechanisms have been built into the bot. And so when you're interacting with the bot or with the app, you're just there in your mind dealing with your thoughts and emotions and beliefs. And there's no person. It's just an intuitive voice. It's like Jesus is, you say something, how you're feeling, you get prompted back. You go back and forth, until you get to a choice point, which Ken was talking about. It's all a choice. But if you don't know it's a choice, then you may need to work it a bit and be brought inside to be at a choice point where you can let it go. So to me, this is really important. Now, we could just pick one topic and we could go into this. Like, for example, money. I'd like to talk about money because there's so many projections and charges around money. And Jesus tells us that everything in form is completely neutral to the Holy Spirit. So money doesn't have a positive connotation or a negative connotation. It's lesson number 2. I have given everything I see all the meaning it has for me. So if you have a piece of currency or a coin and you're looking at that thing, Jesus wants you to ask, what is the purpose of this? What is the use of this? You know, everything comes down to the purpose that you put something towards. It has no meaning in and of itself. So money is a good one because look at all the grievances that are generated every week around money, just around money. It's because there's meanings read onto it. And then all the fears come up around those meanings that are read onto it. You know, maybe you have positive judgments of money and maybe you have negative judgments of money, but either positive or negative judgments are still judgments. And that's still analysis. That's not acceptance. So what I found in my life was, oh yeah, I need to be so surrendered. I need so much internal practice at oh yeah, that's right. I need to ask, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? If I'm presented even with a bill, let's say you get a bill in the mail, you still can't assume anything about that bill. I had a friend from England who was so high in such a state of mind that she would have things pop out of her mouth. Her name was Dorothy. But she said, if I haven't got the money, I wouldn't get the bill. And I remember when she first said that, I just laughed because I thought, now that is some high thinking. If I haven't got the money, I wouldn't get the bill, because that contradicts the world 100%. But she so was in the joy, living from the joy, that she didn't think about bills or debts or things in analytical terms. She just saw everything as provided. You know, what is guided is provided. What is intuited is given, is a way to look at it. And it applies to everything. It applies to everything you can think of, including money. But I just brought up money as an example because that's where a lot of people can start to see, oh my gosh, I do have analysis going on around money. Because there's still this idea that you have to do something, manage it, and either you want more of it or you want less of it, or you want it to go in different places, or you were hoping it is in different places. But there's a lot just with this one topic, just as an example. So if you had financial struggles going on, fear in your mind, then you could try Instrument for Peace or Spiri, and then you could just work it in. And it only takes one topic. It doesn't matter what the topic is. It could be around nutrition. It could be around exercise. It could be around money. It could be around family. It could be around interpersonal relationships. It doesn't matter where you start. I will guarantee where you end is peace of mind. And that's really good news.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about those apps, David. I agree, because it comes down to the point, doesn't it? It says, do you want to hold on to this, or do you want peace of mind? And that's always the bottom line with everything.
Yeah.
And it's like when you work through it, it's like sometimes when I write out these things, this is the reason why, and I write it out, and by the time I've sort of like written everything out, I'm like, this is completely and utterly ridiculous, you know. At that point, it's just so helpful just to be able to share it. You're like, what on earth am I thinking? You know, I don't even need to get to the belief. Like, this is completely crazy what I'm thinking at this point, let alone anything else. And that's what I love about it. When you really see it, it's like when it's sort of like caught up in your mind, it feels so real. But when you actually write something out, you're like, okay, this makes no sense.
It's absurd. You know, when you see the absurdity and you burst into laughter, then that's it. You're back in your right mind. You're back into your intuition.
Exactly. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I thought maybe, David, this could be a nice opportunity to open things up. How do you feel?
Yeah, that's great. Let's go to the gallery. We love
Yeah.
that. Go to the gallery.
Yeah, thank you guys. So first up, we have Esther.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Esther.
I miss you guys. I feel like I haven't seen you in ages, even though I just saw you yesterday or whatever it was. So what happened with me was this helper for my mom. A couple things I wanted to bring up, if you don't mind. The helper lost the laundry card, but I didn't know what happened because my mom had given her money, and I worked with the grievance. I let go of the grievance, and I even told the lady in charge of her, you know, if you haven't gotten in touch with her, let's just forget about it. But then she called me when she was showing up for work today, and I asked her about it. And I tried to be as kind as possible. And I saying to myself, when I'm asking her about this card, this laundry card, and the money my mom gave her last week, when there was supposed to be money on the card, I asked myself, why are you bringing this up? But it came out. So I just went with it, you know, and I tried to hold back any grievances I might still be holding. And I said to her, you know, well, you know, there's where was the card? Where's the card? And she said, well, I have it in my hand. I said, no, the one from last week. She says, this is not the same card. So I realized she had no idea. And the assumption I had made was that she kept the money for herself, the extra money that was supposed to go on. She said, no, she put it on the card. So now there's even more money lost on the card that's not around. But the thing is, I was asking you, I guess the small me wants to know, did I handle it right? Because I tried to, you know, let go of the grievance before I spoke about it. And I thought I had let it go, and I wasn't going to bring it up at all. And yet there it was, it came out, you know, and it's like, and I didn't feel it that much peace after I was done with the conversation. So it didn't matter, you know, what her answer would have been. I'll be honest with you. The peace comes from inside. I swear to God, it has nothing to do with the form, like you're saying. I mean, really. And the other thing I wanted to ask you kind of was, oh yeah, this is what happened. My mom, she had to change her medicines because it's better for her. And it was a twice a day injection instead of 4 times a day. And there was so much fear that I was going into such a tizzy that I thought I was going to have to be taking care of myself. And when I saw how I was making so much out of what wasn't happening, I started to laugh, and I started to just leave it up to her, you know. Hold on a second. I left it up to her to decide, because you told me, David, it's up to her, and that broke everything. I was ready to just relax and wow, but it was like such a contrary experience that I hope I never forget it, that it had nothing to do with anything that was happening, you know, and wow. It's mind-boggling. And then something happened with Alan about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll just figure out a way to buy it if that's what you want. And then he's realized it's all just greed in his mind, and I was like, damn, I just couldn't see that was going on, and I wanted to ask you, you know, like when that happens, like with Alan, like just listen, I guess. Is that what the thing is, David and Kenneth? Just to listen and not try to fix anything? Because that he came up with his own answer quite quickly. So
Well, this will save everyone a lot of time. This is the great golden nugget. There are no retroactive miracles. Every time we go back and try to rehash a situation and what could I have done differently, or so on and so forth, whether it's with Alan and the Bitcoin or with the card or whatever it is, you notice Jesus never says retroactive miracles. He never, ever talks about miracles in past tense, because they don't exist in the past. They're just right now. This is our chance, always right now. And that's why we do get into prayer, you know, because we can see, if we're so used to going back and trying to rehash things, analyze things, fix things, if that is the addiction, then we do need help. We really need help, because it seems like such a thick addiction. So that's what I meant about being intuitive. Then when you take it to heart, you just notice your reactions, you notice those emotions coming up when you feel tight or closed. Then stop at that point and pray for help to be shown. And Kenneth is always talking about this, you know, like he was when Jesus said, I don't think this is the best feeling to respond out of this feeling. You hear that gentle voice is just saying, I really, it's just saying, here, stay with me. Don't go off. Don't try to react and tell somebody off or anything from that place. So thank you, Esther. That's the gold nugget of the day right there. There are no retroactive miracles, and we just have to stop it. We have to stop rehashing things as if that's productive. You know, it really isn't. That's just a way of thinking that is distorted. And I always like the setting the goal section from the text. That has to be when I first read the setting the goal section in Jesus's text, my arms just flew up and I went, Eureka! Eureka, hallelujah, that's it. This is it, everything. Jesus setting the goal. You have to have the goal out front. You cannot look back without looking with the ego. And once I read that, I was like, all right, then I'm living my life in a whole different way. And I am going to be intuitive. If it's the last thing that I do, I'm gonna turn myself in. I'm turning myself in. I'm giving up the analytical mind. Hands up. My hands are up. I'm defenseless. Like, hands up.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Esther. Next up is Deborah.
Hello.
Deborah.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my God. So much has happened like this since I got from Mallorca to Madrid. Like it feels like a roller coaster that I went through. And yeah, right now I'm super nervous because yeah, I have been feeling a lot of like every emotion that I could possibly feel. Like it went like crazy. I feel like, yeah. So then after when I got to Madrid, like Jonas came here and we were just like living together. It was at the beginning, it was very, very, very nice. Well, it actually is still very nice, but yeah, like so much, like, yeah, we went to a retreat and we had an ayahuasca ceremony, and it was just like so amazing. Like the first session, it was just like really, like I really felt God, and I was just feeling like, oh my God, I feel I am like I am not coming back to the world, because I was just feeling so like really in touch with God, and I felt how he was talking to me like in every possible form and in every possible song that they were playing, and it was just like, wow, like this is so amazing. And yeah, and then Jonas also has like this amazing experience, and we were like just like sharing a lot. But there's also this part of me, like, because when I was in Bolivia, I was so into shamanism and ayahuasca, and I was just like training myself to become a shaman. So then Jonas started, and he has like his amazing experience, and I was just feeling like, I don't know, it's just, yeah, like this organization that we contact, they, like, I was having a lot of judgments also around this organization, because they were just like, they were no shamans, and I know how shamans looks, and I was just having all these kind of judgments. But then they really touched my heart in those sessions. So it was kind of like yeah, like releasing all these judgments around how it's supposed to look. I don't know. And then yeah, we met these people, and then we came back to no, they have a house in Marbella. So we went to Marbella, and we have this trip to Marbella. And because of the COVID, we have a lot of restrictions. So we have a lot of police encounters that they were just like because of traveling. And then when we go to the house, the police also came because there was so much people in the house. So we have to separate and go to another house. And we ended up in this apartment with other people. And then there was this guy that he cooks his own ayahuasca. So he offered us, and he said like, we are not supposed to tell anyone, because it's outside of the organization. And then and at the beginning I was just like having this so much judgment, like they are not, like they don't have like a purpose, and they are not committed, and they're just having, like they are just playing with the ayahuasca. And I was just like so like pissed. And then And then the second session we have, so then I was just like, yeah, I like, I feel tempted, and I had the ayahuasca session, and then I said like, yeah, okay, we're gonna do this, but I want to be in charge. Like I want to kind of like play the music and kind of be, and we went very deep, and it was just like super beautiful. But then also like this arrogance comes up like a lot, like through me, like because I think I know how it's supposed to look and how it's like, I don't know, it's just like sometimes I feel like they are immature, and sometimes I also have like this a lot of judgments around, like with Jonas also, like I feel like, I don't know, like our relation is so weird. Like sometimes I feel like I am her mother, and sometimes I feel like he's my child, and I have to take care of him. Sometimes I feel like he's my boyfriend. Sometimes I feel like he's my best friend. Sometimes I feel like I am this annoying spiritual teacher. Like it's just like so much is, and very arrogant, and then I'm like telling him like all my judgments, and he's like, take it back. I'm like, fuck you, like I don't want it. And then it's like, yeah, it feels like, yeah, and like there's so much resistance, and I don't want to take him back. So sometimes I feel like, yeah, he's really helping me to look all of this, but yeah, like I feel like sometimes I like this responsibility that I have to take care of him because he's gonna get lost. But actually I am the one that is pretty lost, and I am trying to explain him and explain these guys. And then yeah, and then I felt I needed kind of like a break, because I felt like I was having so much hatred around like everything, like, and somehow I was just like feeling so lost because I didn't know what to do, or I was like, maybe I have to go back to Mallorca. But there's also like this this community that they have the ayahuasca retreats. Like there's also like this attraction, because I love like their music, I love dancing, like I love that energy. But sometimes I feel like they are not committed enough, and I really want to be in touch of that. Like, yeah, like I really want to feel free and beautiful, but it's just like, I don't know, I feel pretty lost. And also around my, like I haven't gone to school like since forever. Like I miss school, but and I am just paying it because of my visa. And I feel like this also, like, yeah, like I am not free because I have to still pay and go to school even though I don't go because of my visa. And yeah, it's just like this, there's a lot of control going on in my head, like, and I have to control like everything. Even I have to control Jonas controlling, and I have to control myself, and I had to control everything. And I projected with the police, like, and yeah, and everything is like a lot of arrogance and controlling. And yeah, I'm just feeling kind of like a lot of, yeah, a lot of resistance to really surrender and take it back. And yeah, yes, I really feel that I really need help. Like I really need help, and I don't know what to do, because I really want that commitment, but I really want to also have fun and dance and have music and feel pretty alive, and don't have that arrogance and feel so serious. Like I really want that. Like I really want to connect in my mind that I can have commitment and have fun at the same time with my awakening. Yeah, I don't know what I said.
That's good. You poured it all out there. That's good. Well, that's what I mean about being intuitive, because it's like you have all the answers inside of you, including how the dance and the the fun and the discipline, all how they come together, because the intuition is the way to feel that joy and that expression. And the more you are intuitive, the more you discipline your mind to be 100% intuitive. So like when you think about like shamanism, which you have been drawn to, you're just developing your inner shaman, which is the spirit. That is the inner shaman. But in order to develop fully, you have to become so focused on it that then the idea of the judgments of the organization fall away, the judgments of the rituals or of the police, like why are there authorities stopping us and checking our papers, documents all the time, that falls away. And even the compromise, because in one sense, that's very common when you're paying money to go to school for the visa. So it's all it's all connected. And there's some compromise. The part of your mind is saying, wait a minute, I don't like this. I'm compromising. I'm paying this money to go to school for the visa, but I'm not going to school and I haven't been to school for the longest time. It's like a game. And a lot of people feel this way with their lives in the world. They're not happy with their jobs. They're not inspired, but they're going through the motions because they believe they need this and this and this. And then they go through the motions, compromising to try to fulfill these 2 or 3 things. So the intuition and what's in your heart will take you beyond all compromise. And it will take you more and more into the present moment. It will take you more into the miracle where it just comes through you. And even when you felt like in your relationship with Jonah, sometimes you were the mother and then the spiritual teacher, and then it shifted around. The girlfriend, that's common. That's what the self-concept is. It's just like the ego is throwing up different pictures, different photos. Oh, this one, now this time. Now you're this, now you're this. And really you're none of them, but they all seem to come up into awareness just to see them, just to see what's down there. So I feel like, I mean, for both Ken and I mean, I know, Ken, you had experiences, I think it was that experience in that silent retreat, was it in Finland?
Yeah.
And you had a lot of like big mind-opening experiences, but then you did get intuitively guided to take a number of steps that started to clear things out for you, where you're like your heart lit up.
Yeah.
Maybe you could share a little bit, because that's where Deborah is right now. She's like, okay, my mind expanded with seemingly with the ayahuasca experience, but now it's like all the emotions are full up.
Yeah, I think it was actually pretty simple, really, because you have to have an experience that's going to end all the doubting. And it's like at the moment, what I was hearing from you is like you're trying to control it, and then there's a belief in sacrifice, but really there is no sacrifice when you truly follow that everything will be given. But it's like if it's not being revealed in the seeming way that you want it, then you're holding back. But it's like there is like a greater plan, and I think for me, at that particular time, it was, I didn't realize it, but it was that I had truly had enough of this world, and there was really, really nothing more for me. And I prayed that I needed to be shown something that was far greater than myself. And so when that came for no reason, it just came through walking down a set of stairs actually, and just engulfed me and just took me over, and just pure radiant love just blasting away around me for everywhere. And just him showing me that you are this pure love and that everything is love. It was like there was really nothing else for me to do other than completely and utterly hand my life over, because nothing compares to that. There's nothing then here for you. There's absolutely nothing else to do. There's nothing to achieve. There's nowhere to go to. It was over. It was just over in my mind. It's like, I have to now surrender my whole life to this. So it really wasn't actually that hard at that point. It was so convincing that then I stood up at the end of that retreat and said, I hand my life over to God completely. And then my whole life unraveled like that. It was not hard at all. And so I think that's where we get caught up, is like believing that it's supposed to be hard, this unraveling, and it's not. It's only because we want to make it hard for ourselves. We believe that this journey is going to be hard, and it's not. Everything got taken care of. My mum, my dad, my family, everything, boom, straight in the path. It was just simple, direct, easy. Come to Mexico, boom, direct, simple. Like David was saying about his friend Dorothy. If I get the bill, I've obviously got the money for it. You know, the money's there, and it is that. It is like that. Like everything is going to be provided. Everything will be provided, and everything is provided. But you have to say the ultimate yes here, and until the yes is said there, then that's why it feels like we're floundering around in the dark. And so that's why it's the true convincing. And when you have that strength in your heart, like there's nothing really to say about it, because there's nothing else for me now. So it just ended the doubting, and now whatever's coming up is just, this is just par for the course of cleaning up the dust, the dust, really. That's what I feel like I'm doing. But now I have certainty in my heart. I know where I'm going, and so that's what I want for everyone. And it's like, it's a deeper faith in him, that he's truly going to look after you, and he will. And it's like, you can't do it. The amount of things that have happened, and David shares all of his stories. Like, you know, he knows that he couldn't. It's like, I couldn't have done this. It's impossible. It's just impossible how it's all worked out and configured. It's just amazing. You're just sitting there, and forgiveness is just like happening. You're just like, okay, I never did anything. You know? and it just becomes like that, because it's like everything now is like, thank you, and now everything is working for you, and it's just coming for you in this scenario. And so everything is just being given in every single scenario for you, and you just can't believe it. And so really that's what we're aiming for, is the true flow. There's the flow, but it's like, in a way, like, you know, you said with your dancing, it's like you want to dance in your own way, and it's like, no, there's actually a beautiful dance that is waiting for you, you know. And it's like follow Jesus is saying, listen, trust me, there is a dance, and it's a beautiful dance, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be the best dance you've ever had in your life. And you're saying, no, Jesus, I want to do my own dance, thank you very much, being lost in the illusion. And he's like, okay, then fine. I offered you to dance with me. Here's my hand. My hand will never, ever go back. It's outstretched to you, Deborah. And when you're ready to dance, come and dance with me. And so that's the real dance. So come and join the dance. The Lord of the dance. That's what we're doing.
We love you. We're with you every moment, every step of the way. Have some fun. Have some fun on the adventure.
Yeah, love you, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah. Next up is Jean.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure when I listen to this again, you've already answered this, but oh well. So like my kind of question is about those times like Ken was talking about, when you're already in it, you just can't help yourself. You're really caught up in your grievances. And there are times well, I have to look at the past a little bit here. There's an example in the past where I had a client where I had just grievance after grievance with him, and I was trying to be a good course student and face it, and I would finally get myself back to peace, and then he would call again. So it was just 24 hours a day. My whole life was dealing with my grievances with this guy until finally, you know, the one day I couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, I quit, I'm done. And there's always been kind of guilt, like, well, the grievances aren't gone. I just walked away from the guy. And it's like, right now I feel like my peace is more valuable than the paycheck I was getting. And when it was that intense and all the time, it's like, isn't it better to just to walk away and so I can be at peace? Because it seems like when you're that caught up in it, there's not enough space for guidance or hearing. It's like I was for months just in this spin of it, but then I feel guilty, like, well, I avoided my grievances. I should have stuck with it and, you know, dealt with those grievances, because now I've just pushed them aside. But it's like, now that I've experienced what living more in like guidance and in the flow, it's like, isn't that more precious than like facing the grievance? They're gonna come back eventually, bit by bit anyway. It's like, I have this sort of like, should I be miserable because I've got to face these grievances, or just stay in the flow and that's the only thing that matters? So don't worry about the pile of grievances I'm not seeing, just look at the ones that are here right now. Or like, it just, I don't know, it's like, this question is more like, I guess I'm just feeling guilty for walking away from it. Like, I should have done better. I should have been better. But at the same time, it's like, I guess there's a time for everything. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know if the question is there or not, but it's like, am I always just avoiding the grievances? And should I just forget the whole idea of following bliss and peace and face these grievances and let it rip and start screaming at my clients? Or like, it's okay if, like, you know, I'm going through a phase where I just want peace and I want to practice that.
Well, you know, there was a Woody Allen movie where he played a father, and then Drew Barrymore played his daughter, and she was in a relationship with Edward Norton, the actor in the movie. And so she was all this guilt about what to do. And so Woody took her out for a dinner, and then he gave her his guilt advice. He said, always, it's better to be the leaver instead of the leavee. Because he said, leaver guilt is less than leavee. Or, no, yeah, the being left. He said that's the worst. And I had to laugh. It's a comedy, and I had to laugh because he was so good at comedy and guilt. You know, he really plays it out from every angle. If you watch Woody Allen movies, you know, you really start to laugh. But what we're saying again is, it's all in the purpose in the mind, because from that analytical mindset, then we're also dealing with abandonment, which is really going back to the belief in the ego about God. Abandonment, resentment. I mean, all of the huge guilt and the things we feel guilt for go back to the purpose in the mind. And our range is set. We only have two. So when we ask the question, you know, was it okay to leave this client? Was it practical to leave so I could at least come back to some semblance of sanity instead of going nuts? You know, we never can can really put it on the form or on ourselves in form in terms of could I have done something different, like hypothetically, because that's the whole trick, that whatever we put onto the form, we feel guilt with. And then the mind's trying to pick which is the lesser of the two evils, leaving or staying in this case, and there's no answer. Jesus is just, he always has a laugh when we try to paint it, tell us the lesser of the two evils. And he's like, be with me. That's forget about both of those options. So it is a new way of looking and living. And that's what you're really hanging in there. And I would still follow the things that you feel most inspired with, which we've talked about when we've talked. If you keep going with the inspiration, which keeps coming from your intuition, it's just going to grow stronger in your awareness, and to the point where you're just going to laugh. But Kenneth described, really letting go of searching in the world, and I think that is the key. When you turn that key, when you have that experience, then it's obvious and easy. But up until that point, it's like a surrender. It's a real surrender.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, as David was sharing earlier, it's never ever between two people or anything like that. It's just always in your mind, and if we always have the opportunity to let it go, and that's why I love Spiri, because it's like, if I've still got the guilt, it doesn't matter whether it's seemingly 10 years ago, 25 years ago, or in a minute, I'm still holding something in my mind where I'm not happy, and it's not about the other. It's about like the belief that I'm believing about myself or whatever that I can release. So everything can be released in the moment. So it's not necessarily between. It's actually never between the people. It's just what I think in my own mind. So there's always an opportunity to let that go. And as David said, to me, like, don't look back. That's what he said to me once before when I was talking. Don't look back. Just stay focused on him. So yeah, that's always the lesson, I think. Oh, thank you, Jean.
Thank you, Jean. Next up is Julie.
Hi. So good to see you. I have a lot of miracles to share, and well, probably how I can, because I have some grievances, and since the theme today is love holds no grievances, and I wanted to expose some of them. And I've been feeling and hearing guidance more and more, and trusting it more, most importantly. And it's a life of amazement, of surprise. Like Kenneth, you described it so well earlier, like, oh my God, this is what's happening to me. After a seeming time, years of dismantling, it seems that it was not ending, and the moment I surrendered, basically, it starts to get less and less painful. It's really the hanging on to what I think I know should be, in form, that's painful. And when I just I had to try it for myself, because just hearing it did not work. And when I let go, it just just it's kind of sliding down or up, I don't know. But it's sliding. and it's I've been invited to healing journeys to be basically a guide, or to not a guide, but to hold the ground and to be there with people, and to see them in light while they go through difficult things. And I'm being guided to touch them. I have no idea what I'm doing, but this, and I find myself being in the moment, like it's just unbelievable. And so I really, Spirit is really teaching me how to trust, and showing me the evidence. Although I'm constantly praying for that, convince me, because I still have doubts. And I wanted to share something that happened yesterday. I live in this house in New Westminster, where Helen and Greg are living. I think, David, you were here before. And so I've been living with them for since September, and it's kind of a co-living. My life is really more and more based around guidance and the course, and studying, and just we have movie nights, and we listen to MWGE, and so and yesterday we had with Jeff, who is in Peru, we had a reading in the book. Every week we have that on Wednesday, and sometimes we choose to just open the book like an oracle. And yesterday I had the inspiration to suggest something, a passage, and it's from chapter 16. And so it's about special relationships. And as soon as we started reading, because I read that section, I was guided to read that section over and over last week and in the past few days, and it is so much perfect for what I'm going through, and so it's just unbelievable. So I thought, oh wow, I want to share this with my mighty companions, and read it with them, and have be in their presence. But then we started reading, and the very first paragraph and it's about special relationship, and it's something like the search for a special relationship is the sign that you equate yourself with the ego and not with God, and so on. And when I read it by myself, it's like it's like water. Like it's like I drink. And reading it with them was brought up so much fear in a way, because I don't know how to put it. It's like I saw the reaction of my friend on the first paragraph, saying, well, it just means that we cannot have any relationship. All our relationships are special relationships anyway. So because she's in a long-term relationship with Greg, and oftentimes when the subject comes up in a speaker with you, David, or we looked at the film Deja Vu, and it brought up, and for me it's like, oh, it feels good, and for them it's like, so I realized, oh my God, I started feeling guilty because I suggested basically the passage, but then the fear and the reaction and the comments were so stiff. I felt were so stiff, because usually we read and we share open-hearted, and now I felt the fear was all around, and I was caught in it. Like I just got caught in trying to convince, as if the ego was taking over, and oh, I will fix this, I will fix her, or I will, make her see that it's okay, it's fine, you're safe, you don't need to change to separate from Greg, or but the more I tried, and I got caught, and then I started getting in touch with something way underneath that seems to have nothing to do with it, which is anger and rage. Like, I came back to my room after the night, and I'm like, what is that all about? Like, it's almost like, rah, there was a monster in me, like, rah, and almost like wanted to kill. Okay, she doesn't want to understand, she doesn't get it, let's kill. And I'm like, where am I? So I want to talk about it because I don't know what to do, and it comes back once in a while, but yesterday I could really look at it, and this morning I wrote a journal a little bit, and yeah, because I love them so much, I don't want to scare them, and yet it's like, also I feel like, oh my God, I need to go. I need to go live in at the monastery. Like I need people, like-minded people, like, because I won't be saved if I stay here. Like, this is nonsense. I feel it's nonsense. Anyways, yeah, I'm confused in all that. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Julie.
Mm.
That's beautiful. Well, we really rejoice with you in what's been happening, the feeling of opening and being more guided and more guided. And yeah, and those particular chapters, those 9 chapters, my friend Dorothy, who served as the cook for Ken and Gloria Wapnick, every time Ken would go through those chapters in a workshop, she would say, oh, here we go, I have to go buy 7 times as much food to feed the people, because the resistance to those chapters is through the roof. There's no deeper barrier than the special relationship. And those chapters go through special hate relationships and special love relationships. But when people read the stuff about special love relationship, they'll stuff their face, they'll change the subject, they would get sick, they would leave. Dorothy's like trying to keep up with the food. These people are like eating 7 times as much food for this workshop, because there's nothing more of a weapon that the ego uses than the special relationship. In fact, Jesus says in that section, you're home free. You're so close to heaven. You're so close. You only have one more barrier to go past, and you're here. And he says, this is it. It's a special relationship. So that's, I think the lesson is more one of discernment for you, because in my enthusiasm, and I can feel your enthusiasm, you're in the rapture with all the miracles that are happening, and you want to give it away. And at the beginning, so did I, except I didn't understand that I couldn't decide where to bestow my miracles. I was so enthusiastic. I was going to my mom, my dad, my sister, and everything, and it wasn't going well at all. And then I went to course groups, and over the years, I've had so many times where even people in the course group would be like, let's just close the book, or they'd all rush for the food or something, when we would start to get really down there, because there's a tremendous fear of love. and this is getting down to the real depth of it. So yeah, I do feel in the interim the lesson is not to try to take any meaning from the reactions, not to try to interpret the form in any way. That's really what the lesson is. And that's also part of your opening into your joy, which has to be very, very nurtured. You know, it's like Jesus really wants to walk with you in a very close way to really nurture that opening that you're feeling. And that's what I liked about traveling around so much, because Jesus would send me in and then he'd send me out too. I mean, sometimes just as quickly, like, okay, a few hours here and that's enough, you know. And even in Jesus's life, he seemed to be on the move pretty much, you know. He was a moving target for the ego. The ego was like always trying to get him, in the end, get him on the cross, but he was so far beyond all the ego's rituals and rules and traditions that wherever he went, it stirred things up. Even going into the synagogue, you know, he goes into the synagogue to share, and then he opens the book up, and then he reads a passage from the scriptures, but about the Messiah. And he was doing okay at that point. And then he let it slip. The Holy Spirit said, now today the scriptures are fulfilled. Oh, that was like a hornet's nest. You know, you had people that were curious of what he was, you know, they were just thought he was reading the scriptures. But when he said, today the scriptures are fulfilled, oh, this huge inside of the synagogue, not with the Romans, but with the Jewish, the rabbis flew into rage because he just said those words. The scriptures today, the scriptures are fulfilled. So I do feel like this is just part of your journey at not interpreting the reactions at all. We're just to show up in joy with the gift to give, and then just in reading this passage, you know, you didn't do anything wrong by reading a passage from the Course in Miracles. The ego is trying to make you believe you messed up by reading the Course. It does not like this Course at all. But you just showed up beautifully and innocently because of the love in your heart. And then the key lesson was, don't interpret the behaviors at all. You just offer your gift and stay in the essence and the instance of that beautiful moment, and then just let everything else go. And as you move along, you very well could be guided to the monastery. That we would love to have you down there too. That would be beautiful. You have such a beautiful heart.
Thank you, Julie.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you, Julie. Just a reminder, we don't have too much time left, so we have 10 hands, so we just want to keep it as short as possible to get through all the hands. And next up is Sabine.
Hi, Sabine.
Hi, David. Hi, Ken. Hi. Good to see you.
See you too.
Yeah, the last time I was a little bit gone. I was always listening to many things of you, but I was not so in it because I don't know. Yeah. In a many things are going on. And like you said, David, in the beginning, with the money, I had not expected that is such a theme at the end. I thought, okay, I have nothing anymore and I'm ready to leave all behind. And then in a kind, this is really something what I experience now, that also it is, I thought it is nothing. I think it is like, yeah, to make the step really to let spirit guide everything and to trust that everything is provided. You know, I wanted to come to Mexico, and I don't know what I was talking with Laverne, and it was like I felt so inspired to come back. And some days later, it is so much, it's coming from totally peace to fear. I don't know. I had a moment I was so in peace here, and then it comes in that I thought, oh, it does not matter where I am. I can be peaceful everywhere. But in the moment when the peace is there, then very shortly after this is this what you talked about. I think I have to make a decision. So I'm gone. Every time when I think I have to make a decision, I'm gone from the peaceful state of mind. And so this is what's going on. And so then I thought, I had some days, I just was, I think, I don't know how long it's ago, 1 week or 2 weeks, I wanted to book the flight, and it did not work at the moment, and I had an appointment at the dentist, and then after this I had I was just thinking what to do, and then I thought maybe I can make an application here and work in my profession, or like a carer for sick people, and so. And then I talked to Laverne again, and she decided just to sell the cafe before she will go. So I thought, okay, then it is over. But it was my mirror. It is so absolutely it's my mind, because I think it's my projection that I think I can survive without money. And so it's really the cause and effect. I put it again in the false direction, I think, like. So I made an application, and I had an interview there, and so when I came back, it is some days ago, I thought, oh my God, can you do this again? Can you go in this world again? And I feel like, oh my God, I cannot. It's such another, like Ken said, there is nothing to achieve in this world anymore for me. And to make it work like this, I feel I had to compromise so many things again. I just didn't know that it was so emotional. I was not, but now it's coming up. I think it's really, I have to say it, to speak it up, really, because, and then I felt, where is my joy? Where is my joy? It is so gone here. But when I was, in the last days, I was so often thinking about Mexico, and this feels so joyful. There was so much joy. It was such another life. but I think I have really to listen, and it feels like you're really to trust to first come into my happiness and my joy and follow my inspiration, because my inspiration is gone here, and really to trust that everything will be provided then. Yeah. Maybe this. Whew. Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you do have to let it out. So you have to let whatever the emotions to come up. And then I think deep down, it comes down to this worthiness. I did a talk recently where, our worth is established by God. And Jesus says, nothing you think or do or say or make can establish your worth. So it's been so associated with the world, which just means on the inside in our mind, we must have thought we weren't worthy if we were searching for it in form. And now I think with the things that have unfolded recently for you, it's like you're in the tractor beam, you're kind of being drawn toward the light in your mind. And now all those little pockets of doubt around worth, can I make it? How will I survive? And where will the money come from? And things like that. They're getting flushed up to really forgive. And then what Ken was describing with that on the retreat when he was walking down the steps, when you just, Ken was saying that love was blasting everywhere. It just, when you get down past those dark spots, the love is just so powerful. It's almost like, how could I ever have believed anything else when you get into that? But this is important. It's like really give yourself the care to really face whatever it seems. And even with Laverne deciding to sell the Blessings Cafe, that's just a reflection. She's just reflecting the search, like, okay, what is it? Where is my joy? And getting back in touch with that. Because when you're in your joy, how effortless and easy and happy everything feels. And you have that memory there. It's very strong. And then that's no small thing to come to an honesty of where am I still compromising? I mean, basically we started off early on with Deborah, and then both Ken and I were addressing, because Deborah was sharing all these emotions and all these things that are going on for her now and feeling a bit lost with it. And then she did the same thing you've done, is just kind of lay it all out on the table. There's nothing to hold back with any of it. And then that's when you go into that deep prayer with Jesus and say, okay, I know there's things you want to show me, and I want to receive those. I really want to receive those, because like you said, Jesus is your life now. That's you. It's everything for you. Even when you showed me around your apartment, there's Jesus on this wall, and Jesus, it looked like my place. If you could see it, we've got matching rooms. But now it comes to that time in prayer to just say, I'm yours. You're going to have to show me the next move. You're going to have to show me the decision, because Sabine's not the one that's going to be able to make it. That's where the stress comes in, that personal responsibility again for making the right moves. So it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Thank you, Sabine.
Thank you, Sabine. Next up is Vivian and Jacqueline.
Oh, it's me that wants to talk. So I came here to visit Vivian, and since we've been together, it's been really great, but insane. A lot of stuff is coming up. But I wanted to, because I'm going to go into co-living in October, and I just felt this need, you know, I'm just processing all the time when I'm by myself, but I kept asking Holy Spirit to give me an opportunity to start working with somebody who would just, you know, let me process and not try to fix me or, you know, stuff like that. So it's all been good. But anyway, I wanted to bring up something that's just happening right now. And I probably brought it up before because I feel like it's just been, but I don't know. It's this place where, so I can remember reading in the course, it said that when you get close to the foundation of the ego's thought system, it can get really dark. Does anybody remember that? I don't know, you know, and so I'm not saying it has to be dark. I'm not committing myself to that idea, but it seems like, so I've asked the Holy Spirit to really show me that I'm not a body, because I've been working on this all through the last year, all the crazy stuff I went through. I saw in a sense that I wasn't a body, but I said, you know, if we're really going to do this, you're going to have to show me completely. And he's been doing that, and it's really scaring the shit out of me. You know, it's just like, like what's going on? It's almost like something's coming unglued inside, you know, I guess inside my mind, something's being undone. So, but anyway, I always come back out to peace, so I'm not too worried about it, but I am worried about it. I'm like, I just want peace all the time. And everything you guys said in response to everything everybody said directly seemed to, you know, be perfect. But still, I feel like I need to lay it on the altar, like just say, okay, apparently I still have this belief that I'm a body, and I don't, you know, I can't be a body. You know, look at all the stuff that happens that shows me it's not true. So I don't know. I just want to get to the root of it. I want Spirit to show me the absolute root of this, so that I don't have to keep waffling back into trying to be a body again, because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay. Thank you.
No, I don't know, Ken. It just brings me a smile every time I see these two together. We were smiling last week. Every time we see you on the screen sitting there, we just feel such happiness just seeing you two together. But yeah, you know, and that is from the obstacle to peace. And so, yeah, he's saying we have to look upon the foundation of the ego together, and it is very dark. One time I was traveling with a singer-songwriter, and she said, let me drive and you read the course to me. Just pop the book open anywhere. And so I popped it open, and I read the obstacles to peace. By the time I got to the fourth obstacle, she was swerving, literally the car. I'm looking up thinking, I don't know if this is the best idea. I was doing what Julie was saying earlier, you know, I don't know if I should be reading this. Did I read the wrong passage? But I just opened it up, and Donna Marie was like weaving around it, and finally I said, maybe I'll read it later on after we're not on the road, you know, like, because, but you have your mighty companion, you and Vivian are there right now. So right now, Jesus is just giving you the perfect orchestration to let that come up. Isn't that great, Ken? The mighty companion is always there when you face the darkest thoughts.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's like it wouldn't be coming up if you didn't have everything there, you know.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all completely and utterly perfect. And it's just to allow yourself to be gentle, and to allow the support that's around you, that's been given, to see you through that, because it's already there. And as David said, we all just both lit up when we saw you just sitting there. So it's like, it's just the perfect orchestration. It's like, Jesus, you're in charge. Oh, I love you.
We
Thank
love
you
you.
so much. Love you, Vivian.
Thank you, Jacqueline and Vivian. So we're about at the top of the hour. Do we want to take more hands? We have 3 more.
We have 3 more. Yep. Let's do them, but please keep them short and to the point.
Okay, next up is Margaret.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
Margaret.
What I really first, I just wanted to take the opportunity just to expose the thoughts that just constantly are in my mind of that I can do it wrong. And so I think that there are a couple of things just coming up. So I've got these really beautiful heart-opening experiences, and it's like, for example, today, like the miracle I had is like I had a really awful experience with my dog being attacked by a huge dog, and in the world it was horrifying. But then at the moment that I could sit with it, I just let the whole thing, I just exposed all the fear at the moment that my dog was attacked. I didn't play nice. I didn't cover anything up. And then when I came home and I sat with it, and I went straight to Jesus. I said, what's the purpose? What is this for? And all I heard was, can you love her? Like the lady who owned the dog that attacked my dog. And I said, yeah, I can. And he just, any meaning of the whole attack situation was just, it was gone, and then all there was love, and it's just absolutely beautiful. But what's still happening is, like, after I had have an experience like that, what I really truly want to talk about and expose is I can feel such deep hatred still, like, so. And usually it's on this body or my husband. And something I've never exposed so openly is that sometimes I just want to leave this family. I just want to go. There's still a belief that would be so much easier than the hell that's been coming up in going deeper and just exposing. Like in my family now, it's in a way it's so beautiful. There's just like at the dinner table, we're just exposing whatever is on our mind. My 17-year-old son is totally included in this, and it's all so extremely beautiful. But at the same time, I can still feel such deep hatred and hell. So I really wanted to just expose it and ask Jesus, like on a daily basis, I pray and I say, I don't know how to do this. You gotta help me. You gotta help me. You gotta help me. That's all I ask for. And sometimes these beautiful things happen right away. And I don't know what's coming to mind right now is that I really give you full permission, David, to tell me if there's something that you need to tell me that would be very helpful, especially around that I just keep thinking that I can do it wrong and spend my money wrongly. I feel like Spirit's constantly using the things that I still enjoy, that I think are making me happy in this world, just as an attraction to unwind the mind from the hell that keeps coming up. And even with that, I constantly think that I'm not doing it right. Thank you.
For exposing that. Yeah, I think it's just a tendency when there's a flipping from the mind from things like an enjoyment to the self-hatred, but that's pretty much the journey through the darkness to the light. And like I talk about those 6 stages of development of trust, and 4 of them are difficult. And I know Ken and I have had lots of interactions and talked about this around the self-hatred, because it, like Jesus says, until you recognize the full extent of your own self-hatred, you won't be willing to let it go. And so it's like when you're moving toward a big surrender and a big let go experience, like Ken talked about earlier on the show, where it's more of a recognition that the world holds nothing that you want. But as long as the belief in sacrifice is still down there, buried, then it's just the way it goes. At certain times you just feel like, oh, this is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to stay in this environment. Or, the ego will try to use any angle of the sacrifice idea. And in the end, I sometimes would read that section in the Manual for Teachers, what is the real meaning of sacrifice? I just had to read that over and over. I just kept, when I felt hatred coming, I would just go back and read that section over and over and over, because the ego would try to use the hatred as a way to put it out onto something, like you said, onto your body or your husband's is its main targets. But in the end, we have to be shown and carried and be given an experience where we realize we were wrong about everything. And that sacrifice belief is the ego still wanting to be right about certain things, like things I'd be better off if. I used to laugh because that was the game the ego played with me for many years. You'd be better off if, and then I'd have to listen to this whole scenario with the ego going on and on, telling me how I'd be better off. But that's one of its favorite games, it does that. So thank you for just exposing, because that helps right there. And then just to keep the faith and keep praying and keep linking in and joining in, and you shall be carried. You shall be carried.
Yeah, thank you so much, Margaret. It's beautiful that you expose these things. And of course, the ego is going to say this is completely wrong, but it's actually completely right, because you're actually clear on it. Every time you share, it's like, the ego's like, don't do this, because of course it's actually the very, very undoing of everything. And so it does feel fearful to share these very, very deep things. So I just felt the release, to be fair, when you said that. I was like, Thank you. So in actual fact, it's not that everything's going wrong, it's actually that everything's going right. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Next up is Margie.
Can't hear you yet. No, can't hear you yet.
There should be a button in the middle of your screen that says, yeah, there we go.
Okay. Am I good now?
Yeah,
okay.
I can hear you now.
Thank you. This has been so hugely helpful, as all of your sessions are. You're always hitting on things that I need to hear. And so it makes so much sense when I hear it. And it's like, yes, that's what I'm going to do. And then when I go to practice it, I forget, I get about my day and I'm not asking consistently. And I keep getting caught up in saying something that I regret, feel guilty about. And so I keep getting to this swirl, and I've gotten to a point where the analysis paralysis, when you were laughing about that, David, it's like, oh my God, that's, and so I don't make decisions, especially the big ones, right? I tend not to commit either. So I just want to leave it open and see where it goes, but then I don't decide and opportunities go by. And I've gotten to a point where I'm even more fearful, even after studying the course and coming to sessions and listening and trying to practice. I've gotten more and more fearful, so that I'm not tapping into my joy and into the intuition. So a lot of what you said today was really great. I want to find my joy, and I want to expose that I really do want to listen and follow. And when I do feel that joy, it's like, go with it quick, because the next thoughts, the ego is just like, no, and they're not analyzing it. And then how are you going to do that? And on and on and on. So that's my prayer here, is to tap into that joy when I feel it, even if it's a glimpse, because that's about where I've gotten lately. It's just, I'm not feeling it all the time. I'm not feeling it consistently or even for long periods. It's just a little glimpse here and there. So thank you for your encouragement. The other thing is that the self-hatred. I'm really feeling that, because I am taking responsibility for the same things I say and the things I think. And so then it's all the judgments turned on me and occasionally on others, and pretty much on me. So at least what you explain and all really helps me. And I was thinking, I don't really share in these sessions much, because I tend to get too hung up on what I'm going to say and not just let it flow. So it's nice that this is a smaller one where I felt a little bit more comfortable sharing than in some of your bigger sessions. And that's why I asked about, joining offline too, to maybe work through some of this and get some more insight and help. So starting with trust. At the beginning of the session, it's like trust is written huge on here. And the whole thing about intuitive and analytical. It's like, so some great takeaways. Really, really thank you. And if anything comes to mind that you want to share before I know we're short on time, so I wanted to share something that a friend sent me. But do you have any thoughts before I just share this little message with everybody?
I just join you in the prayer for joy. Yeah, we all join you in that prayer. We'll hold you in our prayers for that.
Yeah, just go for it. Put that up front. When you put that up front, then everything will be provided.
Okay, great. This goes back to the dancing part. I got this sent to me this morning, and it's like, oh, that's the thing with the dance. And so I'm leaving on a positive note, because sometimes when I've shared it, it's been all the darkness. I wanted to be light and joyful, and so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you just coming on is everything, and just like sharing. So it's like, you are following. I love who was it? Barbara Farley, wasn't it? Like it or like it, you're being guided. And it's just so I would say just keep saying to the Holy Spirit, just contact me in every way that I'm going to understand, and He will. And it will be revealed. That's all you've got to do every single day, and it will be revealed. But like it or like it, you're being guided.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margie. And our last hand is Don.
Okay. Hello.
Don.
Hi,
Hi,
Don.
Kenneth. Hi, David. Hello, everyone. So I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth here exactly. A big obstacle for me, my ego dynamic, if you will, is this pressure in my head. Really a lot of pressure, headachy now. It kind of is getting more over the years worse, and it's like this. It's a condemning kind of interpretation that I have of the symptom of pressure in my head and darkness. crown of thorns. Yesterday, I took myself on a little drive just to get out of my environment and see if something would happen differently in my experience. Things aren't so terrible as far as what happens to me. It's all in my head mostly, you know, as far as what other people do. It's not that significant. Anyway, so I'm driving and contemplating something, and then the idea of being reborn, you know, came into my mind, and I've been seeking guidance. I've had guidance articulated to me in the past, and I'm kind of pissed off that it doesn't happen to me now. I don't hear it loud and clear. I have little glimmerings of guidance. I mean, like, you know, like you mentioned a little while ago about, you know, seeking, you know, guidance about nutrition, guidance about money. You know, my guidance would be like, well, what shall I eat that in my stomach, that, you know, eating will make me happy usually. Okay. But then I start going down with whatever happens in my body with regard to the eating or the food I eat. But coming back into that experience, so I was contemplating reborn, and it's clear it was like, I really need to know, like, shall I step forward with my right foot or my left foot? You know, shall I, you know, should I don't know what to do moment to moment. This pressure in my head. So anyways, I was thinking about being reborn. And as I made this kind of commitment or conclusion that what I need is step-by-step guidance. And perhaps that's happening. I just flat out won't listen. I'm not aware of it. And I thought of what Ken said earlier about, at some point, he just said, I turned my life over to God. Well, I think I've done that many times, but I've never, maybe in a public forum like this, just said, you know, I turned my life over to God. There's nothing, I don't lack for anything in this world on the material level. Not like I'm some big wealthy guy, but I don't have any lacks like so many people have. But I lack peace of mind, and I lack physical comfort. I lack being able to sleep well and have peace. I lack trust, and I'm fearful a lot. As I was driving and was exploring that idea, the pressure of being guided moment to moment, and that it would be through that guidance, step by step, that I would be reborn, you know, of spirit, instead of this very dominant ego that I have, very strong ego. And an ego that attacks me, that I get enmeshed with and suicidal ideation about. And the pressure in my head went away, just went away. And it was like, oh, wow, this feels so good. And at the same time, I'm going, okay, it's going to come back. You know, it's kind of like the waves from the ocean, you know, it's like they go out and they come in. But this was a remarkable experience. It did come back. Painful moments physically painful moments in my brain or in my skull inside. So anyway, I am declaring that, you know, I want guidance. And I know you've mentioned many tools that you have. I have done the movies. I've tuned in on this first time with Kenneth, with your program. I've joined many small groups of miracle study groups, some that are more that aren't the David Hoffmeister oriented groups. Actually, both of those that I'm in aren't, but I'm joining one tomorrow morning that is. And there certainly seems like a difference in conversation. And so anyway, that's my stand, that I want to turn my life over. The special relationship, I started a special relationship almost simultaneously 40 years ago or so with the Course in Miracles. And when I joined the Kriya Yoga lineage, the convincing thing that tipped me towards saying, okay, this is it, was the guru was saying, when one person in a family transforms, the whole family transforms. Well, my ego liked that, I think. And I took it on as my mission, it didn't work. In the interim, those 40 years, my son developed some mental illness. I've had a lot of mental shit going on. A lot of stuff's going on. So my family's in this little cocoon that's pretty much desire satisfaction oriented. I don't, I regret saying this. I don't live for my desires, but obviously I have them. So you don't know you don't miss what you already have. I don't want to go ascetic, like be an ascetic necessarily, at least not in a suffering way. Anyway, I've had moments of illumination, of complete freedom and joy and love just bountifully flowing out of me, within me and around me and affecting people. I've talked with people who seem to see the light in me when I'm not, when I know I haven't been there in my head, in my own experience. Basically, I want what everybody wants, I guess. That's to love and experience being loved all the time. And I've had a lot of darkness, and I'm hanging in there through it. These bags under my eyes are from the not being able to sleep well at night, not having happy dreams, wondering what is it that I have to, what grievance, big grievance with God. That's a big one.
Well, what's coming to me is to join you in that, just the beautiful prayer of your declaration. You've made a very public declaration of opening to rebirth, and you had a beautiful miracle from it too, when the pain disappeared, from your forehead. And as you've been talking, I've been praying, and what I'm hearing is that there is a section in the text. Andy can put a link to it in the chat, but it's amazing. It's just spectacular. It's called Rules for Decision, where Jesus actually takes you through the day, and it's like reorienting into that intuition I was talking about earlier, away from the analytical, because often many people associate the head and the brain and analytical thinking all together with decision making, and then it puts the pressure of making the right choices onto the persona, specifically onto the forehead, the crown area. And that's why I think it's like, if you come from that rebirth, that that fresh new "Here I am, Lord." Bill Thetford was one of the first two course students on the planet, him and Helen Schuckman, but he was very intellectual, and he was the head of his department at Columbian Presbyterian, and he said, "I need help. I need a prayer," and he loved words. So Helen asked Jesus to give a prayer to Bill, and the prayer was, Jesus said, "Have him say this: 'Here I am, Lord.'" That's the prayer that Jesus gave Bill. And I think if you come with that "Here I am, Lord" state of mind, state of willingness, and you just go through very slowly that section, rules for decision, it just sends you in a new direction. It sends you away from the pressure. It starts to put it on you making a decision with the Spirit. So it's like Holy Spirit, decide for God, for me. It's more of that collaboration, like you're going to make a joint decision. It's not on Don, and it's not on Don's head, because apparently that association is so thick in the mind I think that's where the pressures, it's like an obvious sign, like to open up to a new way. So we're just with you all the way in this, and I'm so happy for your miracle, your reborn miracle, and that is the first. That's the start of your of a complete turnaround in your life. I know that's what's coming. You've got a lot coming from the Spirit. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Don. Thank you for exposing all that. Oh, beautiful. Oh, thank you, David.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Turn it
Thank you, everyone.
Gallery. Oh, thank you, everyone.
Uh-huh. There's Christoph. Christoph's in the dark. You're hanging in with us. Wow. Over there is in Austria. I love it. Deborah, yeah, there's everybody. Oh, sweet. Juliana. Lynn, Lynn. Like Lynn's up there in Sedona.
Oh, thank you, one and all, for all these beautiful miracles. Yeah, so lovely to be with you. Yeah, and thank you, David, for your wonderful teachings. And just, yeah, let's expect miracles and know that he goes with us. And that's all we need to know. That's really everything. It's actually very simple. It's extremely simple. We can just take the pressure off ourselves. It's not of us, but it comes through us. And he wants to come through all of us and show us how much we are deeply loved, and that you can't get it wrong, and you can't make a wrong turn. And he is guiding everything. And he loves miracles, and he loves to perform miracles, and he loves to change your mind and show you love. So that's what we trust in. So yeah, thank you, one and all. Yeah, God bless you all. Bye for now.